Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. This is a topic I'm going to enjoy because this particular topic speaks to this, I don't want to say myth, but this narrative that some in the media have tried to propagate over the last 10 years or so. And I'm glad that Jeff Teague spoke about this on his podcast to former, Miami Heat and Udonis Haslem, because I think it was a very important narrative. Now, what happened? Back in 2009, Kobe was winning championships, back-to-back championships, going to the finals 3 years in a row. And what happened was Dwayne Wade, LeBron, and these guys were conspiring in the background. They literally were. That's what D-Wade said. And they were trying to figure out a way to stop Kobe from getting more championships. Because at the time, D-Wade was sitting on 1, Melo was sitting on 0, Chris Bosh was sitting on 0, LeBron was sitting on 0. So Kobe was clearly dominating these guys. And they were like, man, this guy already got the 5. And I'm sitting here on 1, and most of us out here are sitting on nothing. So they got together after Kobe won his 5th championship and said, listen, we need to form a super team. And then it began. And ultimately what we got was the leading scorer in the NBA that year, Dwayne Wade, a finals MVP, teaming up with LeBron James, who was probably the second or third, probably second best player at, I think, probably second best player in the world at the time, to join up with a 20 and 10 guy, and Chris Bosh. So what happened? They join up, and that particular move sent shockwaves all throughout the NBA community and the sports community, to the point where Michael Jordan himself commented on it. And Michael Jordan said during, I think, a golf tournament where they asked him what he thought about that. He was like, I'm a competitive person. I don't want to join Larry Bird and these guys. I want to beat them. I'm a competitive guy. Everyone was in disgust with the Miami Heat, the fans and the players. And they went on to join that super team, and they went to 4 straight finals. And then what happened? Time went on. And later, Kevin Durant decided to take a page out of LeBron's book and do the same thing. But what happened? What some of these LeBron apologists in the media tried to do was they tried to say, well, it's different what KD did. Because KD went and joined a 73-win team to win the championship, and LeBron didn't join a 73-win team because, well, the Miami Heat were not winning the championship that season. In fact, they had a very, very, very poor record. I think the year before he joined or something like that. But they thought they were slick because they were basically trying to reposition that weak-ass move that LeBron pulled off. Regardless of how the teams were formed, the result was the same. It was weak in 2011. And it was weak in 15 or 16, whenever the hell KD did it. And that was the bloody reality of this story. So yesterday on Jeff Teague's podcast, he's talking to Udonis Haslem, and he says to his face, that move that LeBron did, all of us NBA players thought that was weak as hell. And that's what everybody was saying in the NBA. So for those of you who didn't hear what Jeff Teague had to say, I want to play his comments for you now. And then we'll come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to that there.
Y'all team was cheating, though. Let's keep it real. No, I remember when Bron came to Miami, everybody was like, "Nah, this is weak." I ain't gonna lie, this is weak. I ain't give a fuck. I was in my 3rd year. I was like, I don't care. I just want to hoop. I'm trying to get paid. But I remember Joe. I was at Joe Johnson's house, and he was just like, "Why would they do this?" He's like, "This is weak, man. Bron, he weak for that." Then when I got older and I seen KD do it, and I was like, why would he do this? Like, that's weak. But when y'all came together, that shit was crazy. And I thought you was leaving. I was hype as hell.
I was going to leave.
I was hype. I'm like, they ain't got the glue.
I was.
Yeah, they ain't got nobody.
They ain't had no money.
I know.
Because of him.
But you got it back.
See how I get blamed for
Wasn't
everything?
him.
But you always get blamed for getting that money, and I rock with that.
Man, you know what I'm saying?
They
that.
gave
He
all
still
the
get the
money.
money, man.
Oh yeah.
He got the money, man.
What I would say about that team is we all had to go through a process of nobody wanted to step on each other's toes.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to make everybody feel comfortable. We had that training camp on the Army base. I think that's when that Bron went at D-Wade, D-Wade went at Bron, I went at CB. Everybody went at each other, and I think that kind of helped smooth it out. Because
I really hated y'all then, though.
So you heard what Jeff Teague had to say. What Jeff Teague just said was the bloody truth. It was the bloody truth. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of NBA fans do not respect LeBron James. It's one of the reasons, because we all remember it. We all remember what a weak-ass move that was. You're taking 3 guys in their prime. Some people are talking about the Boston Celtics. Those guys, when they joined, they were all in their 30s. They were all past 30. When LeBron and those guys joined, they were all in their 20s. LeBron was in the heart of his prime. Kevin Garnett wasn't. Paul Pierce really wasn't. These guys were all on the tail end of their primes. Ray Allen was all on the tail end of their primes. Those guys joined in the heart of their primes, especially LeBron James, and they knew they created an unfair advantage. But if you leave it up to people in the media, they'll try to make it seem like what LeBron did either wasn't a big deal, and the person we need to really be focusing on is Kevin Durant. That's what they tried to do. That's what they all do. That's what they all do. And that, again, in my personal view, should be another knock against LeBron in terms of being the GOAT or being compared to Michael Jordan, because MJ never did that. MJ never did that. He just never did. MJ never had a teammate at the level of Dwayne Wade in his prime. He never did. He never did. Go look at when Dennis Rodman joined the Bulls. He was about 35, 36 years old. By the time he was finished playing with the Bulls, he was about 38 years old in 1998. In 1998, Dennis Rodman was 37 or 38 years old. Like, what are we talking about here? So it was a weak-ass move, but the media has done a fantastic job in frying the brains of so many NBA fans because most of these guys don't even know what the hell went on. That was a weak-ass move. And them only winning 2 out of those 4 championships was a gross underachievement. A gross underachievement. In one of those finals, they actually got blown off the floor by a record margin, meaning at no point in NBA history has a team lost a finals by a greater margin than the Miami Heat did against the San Antonio Spurs. At no other point in time has it ever happened. You cannot tell me that you have the GOAT, you have 2 All-Stars as your teammate, and you get blown off the finals floor by a record margin, and you can still stand up and be proud to say, oh, this is the GOAT? Like, what are we talking about here? So I'm very happy that he said that because Jeff Teague said the truth. He said what everybody knows. That's just the reality. That's just the reality. We all knew what that was. So for people to try to act like, oh, it was just Kevin Durant that did it. Oh, what KD did, and that was the weakest move ever. No, KD took a page out of LeBron's book. That's all that he did. How they went about creating those super teams was quite different, but the result was still the same. An unfair advantage. Unfair advantage. And what LeBron was facing against those Warriors was essentially what other players had to face against him. So he's up there crying about, oh, it's different. I don't want to think about this. Well, that's the unfair advantage you created. At one point, that team won 27 games in a row. 27 games in a row that Miami Heat team did. So thank you to Jeff T for keeping it a buck and calling it what it was. Most players thought that move was soft as hell. And that's the fact. And that's what kicked that move right there is what kicked off this player empowerment and getting players to join super. That was the move. That was the move because KG and those guys were at the tail end of their careers, and KG was always reluctant to do it. Then they finally did it towards the end, and their championship window was what, 2 years? That's really all it was. They went to the finals 2 times, or 3 years. 3 years, really? They went to the finals 2 out of 3 years. They faced the Lakers 2 out of those 3 years. And they won the championship. No, they didn't go. No, they went to the finals 2 times. Excuse me. And they faced the Lakers one, they beat them once, and they lost once. That was it. So shout out to Jeff Teague for keeping it real and keeping it a buck. Today we're going to be talking about Ben Simmons. Oh, how Ben Simmons has fallen off. Ben Simmons at one point was an NBA player that was being compared to LeBron James. He was a 6'10" point forward who had immense speed. He was quick. He was athletic. He had great court vision. He could run the fast break like nobody else could. He had all the upside in his basketball game. But there was one major problem with Ben Simmons. And what was that problem? Ben Simmons refused to work on his basketball game. For whatever reason, Ben Simmons made it up in his mind, I'm not going to improve my basketball game. Kobe Bryant spoke about the fact that if he doesn't improve his basketball game, he'll regret it, and so many others. Ben Simmons came into the NBA. His rookie season, he played 81 games. He scored 16 a game on 54% shooting and 56 from the free throw line while getting you 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 1.7 steals. The next year, he bumped it up to 17 points, 56 from the field, 7.7 assists, 8.8 rebounds, and 1.4 steals. His third year in Philly, I think that was the year I think he should have won Defensive Player of the Year. He was scoring 16 points, 4 points per game on 58% shooting, 62 from the free throw line while getting you 8 assists, 7.8 rebounds, and 2.1 steals. But in all of that, what you were missing was Ben Simmons wasn't improving his outside shot, and he wasn't improving his free throws. Ben Simmons, his rookie season, shot 56% from the free throw line. And then he shot 60, 62, 61 his last year in Philly. Since his departure from Philadelphia, Ben Simmons is shooting 43.9%. He shot in Brooklyn in 42 games. An NBA player making $30 million a year was shooting 44% from the free throw line. This year, in the 15 games that he's been playing, Ben Simmons is shooting 40% from the free throw line. And to make matters worse, in this NBA where teams are averaging around 34 to 36 three-point shots a game, where you need to be able to stretch the floor if you want to play basketball, Ben Simmons is shooting 0% over the last 2 seasons. Ben Simmons has been in the NBA for 6 years. In those 6 years, Ben Simmons has made 5 3-point shots in 6 years. I want you guys to marinate on that number. 5 3-point made field goals in 6 seasons in this NBA. So what happened? This morning I was doing some research and I came across an article from fadeawayworld.net, and it had the following headline: Ben Simmons' agent takes the blame for ongoing struggles. Another season, another period of inactivity for Nets swingman Ben Simmons. Since leaving the 76ers years ago, Ben Simmons continues to find reasons not to play on the court, and his agent, Bernie Lee, says he is to blame for the ongoing availability concerns. We continue to try to find non-surgical options to allow Ben to move forward on a permanent basis, and that is where this is my responsibility, and I am the one to blame. When I began working with Ben and I made a commitment to him that I would do everything I could find the right answers and specialists for him to work in order to move forward from the issues he's been having. Clearly, it hasn't happened, and that's my responsibility. The article then continues on. It's noble of Bernie to fall on the sword for his client, but you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who blames him for Ben's shortcomings. While Simmons' health has been a major obstacle for his career so far, it was his decision to force a trade from the 76ers, and it was his decision to skip months of games during his fallout with Daryl Morey. With the Nets, Ben joined a team hoping to compete for a title, but now he's the last remnant of a forgotten era and a shell of his former self. This season, with averages of 6.1 points, 7.9 rebounds, and 5.8 assists per game on 58% shooting, Simmons is putting up modest numbers, and his latest absence is proof that nothing has really changed about the situation. To this day, fans are still wondering where it all went wrong for Ben Simmons. What are my thoughts on this? I think that to the average NBA fan hearing this story, they will have absolutely zero sympathy for Ben Simmons, and I'll tell you why. Fans cannot get upset. I don't think fans would be upset if Ben Simmons is getting injured. I don't think they would be upset with that because injuries happen. Hell, it happened to Derrick Rose, right? Nobody held that against him. I think what fans would be annoyed about with Ben Simmons is his lack of development as an NBA player. That's where Ben Simmons loses a lot of his supporters. You see, we can defend you getting injured. What we cannot defend and what we will not defend is you averaging 6 points per game in the NBA while making $30 million. What we cannot defend is your unwillingness to shoot. Ben Simmons this season is averaging 4.9 field goal attempts. Last year, he averaged 5.6. Ben Simmons has flat out refused to shoot. Last season, in 42 games, he attempted 0.6 free throws a game. That tells you everything you need to know about the level of aggression from an NBA player. He is not even looking at the rim. He's not. He's just there setting picks, pushing the pace, defending players. Well, that's not enough. You're not even living up to your contract. You're not. Because the contract was given to you based on what you did in the first 3 seasons in the NBA. Are you living up to your contract? No. So of course people won't feel sorry for you, and no one should. The injuries, yes, but him deciding not to improve his basketball game, there's no defense for that. Ben Simmons tried to turn himself into a victim in Philadelphia. Some people deport. I'm like, yo, y'all are just babying this guy. The fact of the matter was he didn't deliver. Now, they shouldn't have said it publicly and all of that. Was it really worth going to that extent? To throw a hissy fit to that extent? Really, was it? Was it really that deep? So to me, man, this is the story of Ben Simmons. It's a damn shame, but hey, we can't blame him for his injuries, but we can blame him for him not trying to improve. And that is, you cannot dispute that. Ben Simmons has not improved. And the only person we can blame for that is him, because that is 100% in his control. 40% from the free throw line, really? As you guys know, I'm a big Kobe Bryant fan. I think he's one of the 3 greatest players of all time. Some people agree, disagree, whatever. I personally believe that. And one of the players that people used to compare Kobe to was LeBron James, right? And they tried to say, oh, LeBron is better, blah, 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 and all of those different things. But I never felt that way. I felt that Kobe was the more superior player. I thought he was a better two-way player. I thought he was mentally tougher. He was certainly more clutch. And I felt that LeBron always harbored some level of jealousy and envy towards Kobe Bryant. Some people said, oh, no, you're making it up. You're making it up. You're making it up. So what happened? Yesterday, an article was published by, LakersDaily.com. And the article had the following headline. It said, LeBron has questioned if the Laker fans would ever embrace him the way they did Kobe Bryant. And I was like, wow, this seems like a very, very interesting topic and something worth going live about. We went live yesterday. We had a lot of fun. But today I said to myself, I said, okay, let me just let's produce a show today where I can just really settle in, get into my thoughts, and really give you guys what I really think about this story. But before that, I actually want to read the article. So let me get into what the article had to say here. So the article said, the reaction to LeBron's latest historic milestone may have eased doubts the superstar has fostered about whether Los Angeles Laker fans will ever fully embrace him. James, who has privately questioned whether Laker Nation would ever fully embrace him after seeing him battle their beloved Kobe Bryant for so long, acknowledged the way fans and the franchise showed up for him, wrote Bobby Marks and Dave McMenamin. Then continued on Saturday, James became the first player to reach 40,000 career points. Now is the 6th season. The 39-year-old was grateful for the way the accomplishment was acknowledged by the faithful Crypto.com arena. Much respect and much loyalty to the Laker fan base for showing me that love, James said. Being the first player to do something that's pretty cool in this league. So that's what the article had to say there. Let's get into this thing here. The reason we're producing this show and the reason we continue to produce these shows is because we're trying to correct a lot of these narratives that media puts out. What has become big media, what has become quite clear is that they have a certain narrative that they want to push and they double down on it, and they're going to talk about certain things certain way, and then there's certain things they're just going to totally ignore, like the Kevin Garnett Balco scandal. They just acted like as if nothing was said. And they, trust me, they all heard about it, but they chose to totally ignore the story. And there's certain stories that they'll cover. One of them is this thing of how LeBron magically jumped Kobe to get right next to Michael Jordan. Something that a lot of us is still scratching our heads and wondering, how exactly did that happen? Let me explain to you how the media tried to pull it off. In 2010, the Lakers won their Kobe won his 5th championship ring, right? 5th. In 2011, in 2011, the Heat went to the finals. LeBron had a total collapse, averaged 17.8 points per game. And in one of those games, he scored 8 points in a finals game in the heart of his prime. 3 years later, he wins 2 out of 3 championships. He's still behind Kobe. Some years go by. He's playing basketball, putting up numbers like every other great player. Then in 2016, LeBron wins his 3rd championship ring. And at that point, some of these people in the media who like to twerk it up all over the place, pour honey all over their bodies, all over their bellies, like Shannon Sharpe and all of them, actually then came out and said, oh, LeBron has now either passed Michael Jordan or he's now number 2. And a lot of us were out here like, how is this even possible? The level of misinformation that these guys were putting out there was alarming. There was a lot of funny business happening in sports media. Shannon Sharpe was leading the charge. Shannon Sharpe, I don't even know what the hell happened to him. Because in 2011, Shannon Sharpe said the 3 greatest players of all time is Jesus or God or whatever. Number 2 was Jordan and number 3 was Kobe. Then 5 years later, Kobe went to like number 9 on this list. You help me understand how that happened. And LeBron went to number 1. And Shannon started behaving super funny style. Super. Like when I say super funny style, I am talking about Shannon Sharpe was on some other you know what. He all of a sudden turned himself into this big LeBron James fan. All of a sudden, LeBron James was the best thing since sliced bread. He ain't never seen nothing like him before. And as a matter of fact, I want to show you the lengths that Shannon Sharpe was going to in 2017. There was a picture that he published on his Instagram. Not me, he did it. Why he did it, I don't know. Why me? I'm 36 years old. I'm trying to imagine myself at maybe 46 years old, 48, whatever, 40, 50, posting this type of picture of another man, a married man at that, and I'm posting this picture online because of what exactly? And I have kids. Why would I do something like this? What we want to do is I want to put up the picture that Shannon Sharpe posted. Here's a picture. He wrote, "Be honest, is this too much with the laughing emojis?" Then he has a bed with LeBron James bed sheets. And LeBron James, the worst part is that he has LeBron James's his face as the pillow. And this was published on May 8th of 2017. And one person left a comment, "I bet LeBron be uncomfortable with a lot of this stuff." This is what Shannon Sharpe was posting. This is what was taking place in sports media. Nick Wright jumped out there and they were doing all of this to act like as if Kobe never existed. The fact of the matter is the following. LeBron knew that Kobe saw straight through him. Kobe would be talking to LeBron on the court. You'd be like, damn, this is like the way he used to. Go look at All-Star games and all that in his interactions with LeBron. Go look at it. LeBron went there, and when he went to the Olympics and saw the type of love that Kobe was getting, is like, yo, what? He was like, I'm sure LeBron was like, well, I'm big. Well, apparently not. Because Kobe was actually the Michael Jordan of his era. That's actually the best way to describe. He was the Jordan of his era. You had MJ, then you had Kobe. The level of popularity that Kobe had was beyond remarkable. Beyond. Why? Because number one, Kobe was he was Kobe Bryant, number one, as a basketball player. Number two, Kobe was extremely personable, and he was a kind of what's the word? Not a citizen of the world, where he could speak multiple languages. He could relate to Americans. He could relate to Europeans. He could relate to people all over the world. He was an open mind. He was eloquent and all of that. And LeBron would look at that. Then the guy retires and goes off and wins an Oscar. You're like, what? An Oscar? The guy won an Oscar? So they were looking at all of that and like, bro, what's going on? And I'm 100% sure when LeBron saw the reception that Kobe was receiving when he retired and went from every arena that were giving him standing ovations, a part of him is like, I wonder if I will get that same love. And that's the reason why he said, oh, I'm not sure I'm somebody that wants to send off tour. But then just said in the quote, let me read it for you. Where's the quote? I just read it for you guys, where he said in this LA Lakers Daily, he goes, much respect and much loyalty to the Lakers fan base for showing me that type of love. Being the first player to do something that's pretty. I thought you didn't care about the love. I thought you didn't care about the adulation. I thought you didn't care about being praised. Now all of a sudden you're talking about much respect. So why would you harbor feelings that you won't be accepted if you didn't want to be accepted? Hello? Why would you harbor those feelings? Because there's a deep level of insecurity when it comes to Kobe for whatever reason. Go listen to all of these Kobe stories. You hear anybody talking about LeBron stories? Nobody got no damn LeBron stories. They got Jordan stories. They got Kobe story. Nobody got no damn LeBron stories. So we all know what it is. You got some NBA players now acting like as if they don't know what the deal is, but they all know. That's why when Gilbert Arenas was on Gil's Arena, they were talking about Kobe, and Kenyon Martin had to keep it real. Because some people say, oh, Rashard McCann sees a Kobe stand, but Kenyon Martin kept it real. He kept it real. So to me, this really doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of insecurity here. And it's, to me, the surprising aspect of it, this is coming from a billionaire. Bro, let me tell you something. There are people that have $1,000 in their account that got more confidence than this. There are girls that have $25 in their account, but they know that they hot and they got way more self-confidence than this. It's just a bloody reality. She could be a bad you-know-what with $35 in her account, and she will be like, I'm the baddest MF out here. So you as a man with $1 billion and you feeling insecure about another man? What? I got $1 billion and I'm insecure about another man? What exactly am I insecure about? I wouldn't be insecure about a damn thing. This damn Nick Wright, man. He must be the biggest troll in sports media right now. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, some of the things that come out of Nick Wright's mouth. As you guys know, on First Things First, they have this segment where they rank players, and it's called NBA player tiers or something like that, something to that extent. And Nick Wright is usually the person that comes up with the rankings, and then Chris Broussard and Wiles react to it, right? So what happened? It's a new season, and Nick Wright has decided, you know what? It's high time I start trolling some NBA fans and throwing out some absolutely ridiculous things out there to generate conversation like he is now. So what happened? Nick Wright decides to come up with his tier. And I knew one thing the moment he was going to come up with his tier. I knew that Nick Wright was going to put LeBron in a spot that he did not deserve to be, but nevertheless, he did it. So as he was going through his rankings, would you believe that Nick Wright ranked LeBron James ahead of Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, SGA, and Stephen Curry? For those of you who may not believe that that's even possible for somebody to do that, what we want to do is want to play Nick Wright's breakdown for you. We're going to hold up. We're going to put the full tier so you can see the full picture of it. And then we're going to come back and continue with the show. Just take a listen to this madness right here.
Because no one could have fallen off, because today's the first edition, give you a little bonus, at the bottom, guys who are, bottom of the valley, just missing out. 3 number 1 picks at 3 different stages of their careers. All are right there and could be on the mountain as early as next week, and maybe were on it as recently as a few weeks ago when we had, our dry runs of, not the mountain, but pardon me, of King of the Hill. All right, bottom row, row 7. These guys all are excellent second options, but if any of them are your first option, you have a very clearly defined ceiling. So the only first options on there right now are Trey and Paolo. And Paolo one day I think could be an excellent first option. He's not quite there yet. And by the way, Orlando's going to be in the playoffs. Good job. Trey's a number 1 option. The Hawks are a little disappointing. But these are all really good players. These are all top 30 players right now in the league. Now to the top 20 guys, and this speaks to how deep the league is, that these guys are, that we have got not quite really in the top 15, but these guys, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, 2 of the best scorers in the league, Jamal Murray, a champion, number 2, Dame trying to be that, De'Aaron Fox, the best player on a team that's going to be, around 50 wins for the 2nd straight year, and then Tyrese Halliburton, who while the Pacers have cooled off a bit, Tyrese Halliburton was putting together a first-team All-NBA caliber season early in the year, now probably maybe more of a second-team All-NBA guy, still an unbelievable year. All right, now we're in real club superstar territory, Drew. You have, back-to-back 2-time finals MVPs in Katie and Kawhi, Anthony Davis, who's a champion, Anthony Edwards, who is the best player on a team fighting for a 1 seed, and shout out to Jalen Brunson, who I liked when he was in Dallas. I loved him last year by the end of the year, and now I like him even more. I know obviously he had the scary injury, but he's going to be okay. These guys are all club superstar adjacent. And by the way, shout out to Kawhi for his first healthy season in forever and really being excellent. Okay, so go to row 4. I'm a little conflicted on one of these players, and that player is SGA, because part of me feels like this is too low, because he is having an MVP caliber year. Part of me feels like he's alongside LeBron in his 10 finals, Jimmy Butler in his 2 finals, Steph in his 6 finals appearances, and guys that have real pelts on the wall, and guys that we know are dominant postseason performers. Shai's never been above 500 for his career, for a season, and never been in the playoffs. But, like I said, it's fluid list. All right, now the real cream of the crop. First team All-NBA caliber guys this season. Embiid is hurt, but he's going to be back. Luka's averaging 35 a night, and we're almost numb to it. And Tatum was tough. I'll be honest.
You come around on him, though.
It's not as though it could be higher, but I also, I thought about LeBron in that spot. I thought about Jimmy in that spot. I thought about Steph in that spot.
LeBron.
Well, we can discuss it more in a moment. But I'm just telling you, I thought about it. As far as if who I trust over in the postseason, LeBron or Tatum, or Jimmy or Tatum, that's a tough one. And but Tatum, that's where it is. These guys are all first team All-NBA caliber if they were to play the games. And now to the part people are going to get mad at. So listen, I tried to show Joker's respect by making the spot next to him vacant. I know everyone, just reveal the top row as well, please. I know everyone thinks it's insane to not put Jokic at the top. Yeah. All I can do is be honest. I think Giannis is the best player in the league.
So you heard what Nick Wright said. Who takes this seriously? Who was listening to that and thought to themselves, man, this makes pretty good sense here? Who was thinking that? Who in their right mind would rank LeBron James ahead of Kevin Durant, ahead of Kawhi Leonard, ahead of Stephen Curry, and ahead of SGA? Nick Wright put LeBron ahead of SGA, who is one of the leading candidates, top 3, to be the MVP this year. Hear what the hell I just said. SGA is one of the leading candidates to win the regular season MVP. Who anywhere mentioned LeBron's name and MVP this season together? Who did it? Who? So that is extremely disrespectful to SGA. That's number one. Number two, here's what's interesting about Nick Wright. And I want to expose something about Nick Wright and people that think like this, and something about LeBron fans. Not all of them, but a good majority of them. Do you know what's interesting about Nick Wright's ranking? Do you know what's interesting? Every single player that he is putting LeBron ahead of is winning more games than LeBron. Every single player. If we look at the NBA standings right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder are number 2 in the West. The Clippers are number 4 in the West. The Suns are number 6 in the West. The Warriors are ahead of the Lakers at number 9. Which tells you something quite profound, which is this. LeBron fans do not care about winning. All they are focused on is stats. They spend zero time factoring winning. That is the reason why a LeBron fan can look you dead in your face and say to you, LeBron is the second greatest player of all time while having a 40% win percentage in the NBA Finals. They can look you dead in your face and say that. They will know that he played in the weakest conference when he was playing, hence the reason he was able to make it to all of those finals, and still look you dead in your face and be like, yo, this dude, what he did was incredible. They don't factor in competition. They don't factor in winning. Losing is a non-factor. That is the only way you can open up your mouth and say LeBron is on the same level of Jordan. Well, of course, if you don't factor in losing, then sure he is. What would constitute LeBron being ranked ahead of any of these guys? What would constitute it? Who would constitute it? All of these people he just mentioned are all having better seasons. All of them. Kawhi Leonard is on the verge of having a 50-40-90 season. The only thing that's missing, he's shooting 89.1% from the free throw line. Kevin Durant and this team have been surging. Stephen Curry and this team is playing better. They just beat, who did they who did they beat yesterday? They beat the Milwaukee Bucks, I think by 25 points or something like that. SGA is most likely or probably going to end up being the regular season MVP and is a number 2 seed in the West. So and he has better numbers. So what are you basing that off of? What is it off of? Except the fact that you're a fanboy. And I knew he was going to do that. I knew it. He was going to find a way to put LeBron where he don't belong. I knew this. Is one of the reasons some LeBron fans would be like, well, I think he deserves a jersey, his statue to be retired in LA. Really? Really? He does? The Lakers have made the playoffs 3 times in the 6 years that he's been there. 3 times. The year before they missed the play-in, and you deserve a statue? For what? For what happened in the Orlando bubble? That's what you deserve a statue for? These guys are simply the most delusional fan base in all of sport. They are absolutely out of it. I don't know what it is. If you go to your local grocery store and you look for some damn honey, it would have ran out because all of these damn LeBron fans would have bought all of it to be slapping each other with it and twerking up all over the damn place because they just can't help it. They just cannot help themselves. How can you fix your behind to say, oh, well, I got him ranked ahead of SGA? How? Why? Based on what? Based on what? Impact? What impact? They're not winning. What's the impact? This guy, man. Anyway, that's LeBron fans for you, man. That's what they are. The vast majority of them. The most delusional bunch of NBA fans I have ever encountered.